Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Dev, all glories to assembled Vaishnavi devotees. Dear devotees, we thank you all for being here as always. Today is the last day of the week, Friday, and it says, oftentimes we try to save the best for the last. And we have our own sweet and big auntie, Her Grace Mother Rukmini, here with us today. We should count ourselves very fortunate because Mother Rukmini is very, very busy. Yet somehow we are fortunate to have her association at least once in a month, which is very beautiful. So we encourage devotees to take advantage of her association with us today. And Mother, without much to be said, you're here. We're happy to have you. We may put the rest on the screen and then you take it over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the very kind and generous welcoming. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nastaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhakti bhavati naistuki. Jai. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 6, text number 30. Hare Krishna. Tatascha manava kale ijjire vishayo pare pitaro vibuddha daitya manusya kratubir vibhum. Tatascha manava kale ijjire vishayo pare vitaro vibuddha daitya manusya kratubir vibhum. Now chant it one more time. Tatascha manava prakale ijjire vishayo pare vitaro vibuddha daitya manusya kratubir vibhum. Word for word. Tata, thereafter, cha, also, manava, the manus, the fathers of mankind, kale, in due course of time, ijjire, worshipped, rishaya, great sages, apare, others, pitara, the forefathers, vibuddha, the learned scholars, daitya, great devotees of the demigods, manusya, mankind, kratubir vibhum, the performance of sacrifice to please the Supreme Lord. Translation. Thereafter, the Manus, the fathers of mankind, the great sages, the forefathers, the learned scholars, the Daityas, and mankind perform sacrifices meant to please the Supreme Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The Daityas are devotees of the demigods because they want to derive the greatest possible material facilities from them. The devotees of the Lord are ekanista, or absolutely attached to the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, they have practically no time to seek the benefits of material facilities. Because of their realization of their spiritual identity, they are more concerned with spiritual emancipation than with material comforts. Chant some prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Yananjana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Svasyastu Vispasya Kalo Prasidatam Danyantu Bhutani Shivam Mitodiya Manascha Badram Bhajata Radhoksaje Aveshatam No Matirapya Vaituki. This is a prayer of Prahlad Maharaj from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll say it in English now as well. May the entire universe be blessed with peace and good hope. May everyone driven by envy and enmity become pacified and reconciled. May all living beings develop abiding concern for the welfare of others. May our own hearts and minds become filled with purity and serenity. And may all these blessings flow naturally from this supreme benediction. May our hearts be filled with spontaneous love for the transcendent Lord. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for inviting me back to Africa, where I've never been in the physical body, but I travel on Zoom, hopefully each month. So thank you so much. In this verse, Lord Brahma is speaking to his son Narada. And this verse is a very short purport, but it's describing sacrifice and the different motives different people have for performing sacrifice. So what is sacrifice? It's really about gratitude. It's about giving up something you like, maybe money or time or anything that's dear to you, for a higher purpose, for God or for Krishna, right? So I checked with Webster's dictionary. Webster says, the surrender or destruction of some things valued for the sake of something having a higher or more pressing claim. So that's Webster's definition of sacrifice. So have you ever experienced somebody comes to the temple and maybe tomorrow there's going to be an initiation, or maybe there's going to be a wedding or something, and you say to someone new at the temple, we're going to have a fire sacrifice tomorrow. And they kind of get a little bewildered, like, well, what's going to be sacrificed? I mean, are you guys going to be throwing virgins into a volcano? Or is it going to be like a bloody sacrifice of an ox or a lamb, like in like what's described in the Old Testament? And then you might say, well, no, we're just going to sacrifice grains and a few bananas. And then people feel a lot more relaxed, right? But so what's the purpose of sacrifice? Sacrifice is about giving back in gratitude. It's really all about gratitude. And Srila Prabhupada mentions gratitude. It's not a word we hear so much in the Krishna consciousness movement, but if you keep your eye out in Srila Prabhupada's purports, you'll see beautiful references to gratitude. He says in one place that someone who is intelligent is always grateful to his benefactors. So here's something, let's see. Here's something about gratitude from Srila Prabhupada. Let's see. He says, lost my place here. He says that he says gratitude. Let me see. Srila Prabhupada. Lost my page for just a second. I was looking for Prabhupada's quotes about gratitude. He says that, anyone who's intelligent will be grateful to his benefactors. And then he talks about, here's a nice quote from Srila Prabhupada. This is from the 4th canto. Speaking about a devotee, Srila Prabhupada said, his only asset is good behavior, and he is grateful. Gratitude for the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one of the qualities of Vaishnavas. Everyone should feel grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is maintaining all living entities and supplying all their necessities. Here's another one from Srila Prabhupada. Let's see. Well, here's one that I wanted to share about Krishna, that Krishna says, Lord Krishna is very kind to his devotees. He is always very grateful and magnanimous, and he possesses all abilities. And Prabhupada says, Krishna is very kind to his devotees. He is always grateful, and he never forgets the service of a devotee. So beautiful, huh? Yeah. Here's another one. Well, this is nice. This is not from Srila Prabhupada, but I'll share it. Thankfulness is the soil in which pride does not easily grow. So if you feel like you're maybe covered by a little pride, the best medicine, the best antidote is gratefulness. Yeah. So speaking about sacrifice, being giving back and gratitude, Srila Prabhupada says someone who's intelligent is grateful to their benefactors. So think about it, right? We come to this world, we've heard this a million times, right? We come to this world empty-handed. We leave empty-handed. Everything has come to us as a gift. And if I'm so proud, so foolish that I think everything is coming by my own endeavors, then what does that say about me? It says that I'm really a fool, right? The air we breathe, everything else comes to us as a gift. Am I free to stop breathing? Am I free to stop eating or drinking water? So why not offer thanks to Krishna, to the one who provided all our necessities? So when we talk about yajna or sacrifice, I'm defining it as giving back in gratitude. Well, Krishna says in the 10th chapter, you know how Krishna talks in the 10th chapter about how the greatest of all things are represented by him, right? He is the secret of silence, so many beautiful things. He's the greatest of mountains. He's the greatest of priests. He's the greatest of everything. So he says in chapter 10, text number 25, that he's the greatest sacrifice. He says, Yajnanam japa yajyosmi. He says, of sacrifices, he is the chanting of the holy names, japa. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that the Hare Krishna mantra is the purest representation of Krishna. So I was thinking, initiated devotees, we chant, takes about 2 hours a day, So I was thinking, why do we chant japa? This is the greatest sacrifice, the greatest representation of Krishna. Why do we do it? So I wanted to put Sahadev Prabhu on the spot and ask him, Sahadev Prabhu, why do you chant japa? And wait, let me just say something. After I put him on the spot, I'll ask for any volunteers, because maybe some of you might also like to volunteer. Why do you spend 2 hours a day? You could be watching television, you could be surfing the internet, you could be walking the dog, you could be doing anything. So Sahadev, why do you chant japa?
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you. Well, I chant japa because when I took initiation, my Gurudev asked me to chant a minimum of 16 rounds a day. So I try to honor what my Gurudev and myself agreed upon to do. But I also understand that the holy names of the Lord is not different from the Lord himself. Therefore, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, I will be in direct contact with the Lord. Hare
Beautiful.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So you're doing it because your Guru Maharaj asked you, and you're doing it because you want to be in direct contact with the Lord. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Who else would like to volunteer? Why do you chant Hare Krishna? Why do you chant japa? Anyone else like to say?
Yes. Hare
Yes.
Krishna. It's Kusha. I
Usha.
chant because I was told to chant.
Okay. Okay, good. Kusha, do you get anything out of it?
Yeah, it gives me serenity when I chant.
Good. You get some serenity. Nice. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Narayani, please, you may unmute Narayani Devi.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Hare Krishna, Mother.
Haribo.
I chant because it purifies my heart.
Beautiful. Purifies your heart. Can you feel it?
Narayani, that's
Yes.
a question for you.
Yeah. Can you feel the purification? Can you feel the difference?
Yes.
Good. Good. Anybody else want to say why they chant?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, primary reason I chant is because my good mother told me I'm a foolish person, so to get rid of my foolishness, so I should chant. But one thing I enjoyed about it is whenever I'm chanting, I just realize that I forget every other thing, and it makes me feel happy. So I love doing it because at that time I chant, I just forget every other thing. So it's for me, it's a kind of sense gratification.
Chanting because it's the highest sense gratification. Good. Thank you. You must have your senses must have gotten purified by chanting. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else want to say why they chant japa?
I see Ras Vilas giggling. You have something to share, please unmute.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Humble obeisances.
Hare-
I haven't joined the class from the beginning, but I think the comment everybody is making means I also have to say something. Actually, when I'm doing japa, the only thing that comes to mind is I remember Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes I just take Prabhupada's book, Prabhupada's Lila, I look at the picture, I'm like, what at all prompted this man or motivated this man to do what he did at the age of 70? I am nowhere even close to have the age of Srila Prabhupada, but I'm even thinking about retirement already. So what actually motivated him to do this? So every time I take japa, I look at my japa back then, I remember Srila Prabhupada, that he did this for us. Therefore, we must also continue with what he left. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You're making a nice point. Srila Prabhupada gave us such a gift. And we should chant and try to come to the point of realizing that beautiful gift. Thank you. I appreciate all your answers so much. Yeah. And one other answer is that we chant to please Krishna. We chant to please Radha and Krishna. You know how when someone calls your name, Sahadev, I go, Sahadev, Sahadev, Sahadev. You feel happy. You feel like, wow, somebody's looking for me. Somebody wants to talk to me. So Krishna also, especially when we focus, when we pay attention, when we don't let our mind wander all over the universe, because then it's like you call someone, but then you're not paying attention, then they go away. And then you call them and then they come back and you're not paying attention, so they go away. So sometimes, somebody might feel like, oh, this person doesn't really want me. They're saying my name, but they're not really wanting me. So to please Krishna, and if we do it with a focused mind, the mind is like a 2-year-old. It keeps running away. So we keep trying to bring it back. So keep trying to bring it back and chant for all those beautiful reasons, So yeah, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be given up, right? But they have to be done for the right purpose, right? So this sacrifice we're talking about here, sacrifice of the holy name, chanting the holy names, different people do it for different reasons, right? Different people perform sacrifices for so many different reasons. Somebody wants wealth. Somebody wants a beautiful wife. Somebody wants to pass the exam. So many different reasons. But devotees of the Lord are, in this purport, Prabhupada uses the term eka nista. That means they have like one pointed determination. They're absolutely attached to the devotional service of the Lord. And pure devotees like that don't have time or interest to seek out material benefits of material facilities. But you know what? Sometimes we might. And sometimes we're desperate. Sometimes we're in a situation where, somebody's giving us a hard time at work, or maybe we're ill, or maybe someone's dying, or maybe there's a war, or maybe millions of things in the material world. So sometimes we just cry to Krishna, right? We just cry to Krishna. Somebody asked in the chat, where is that prayer I chanted at the beginning? I'm liking to chant that prayer from the 5th canto because there's so much war and fighting in this world right now. So that's a prayer from the, let me see. It's from the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 18th chapter, 9th verse. If you want to look it up, it's a prayer of Prahlad Maharaj. But that's a translation that was given by Rabinda Swarup Prabhu when he came to an event here in Washington. So yeah, there's so much suffering in this world. And sometimes in the midst of suffering, it's really good to take shelter of Krishna and to cry to Krishna. And we might think, well, this is not actually, I'm not just like crying for pure devotional service right now. I'm crying to Krishna to save my life. But that's also good. And it's also better than like trying to just like fix things by my own will or intelligence or resources. So sometimes we might feel like, okay, this isn't the highest, but I am taking shelter of Krishna. So we have to remember that that's also really, really good. But then to contrast that, Srila Prabhupada, in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he talks about the mentality of a demoniac person who performs sacrifices, right? So maybe you know this verse, it's a pretty famous one. Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, verses 13 through 15. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. Does this bring anybody to mind that you might know? And then here comes the sacrifice part. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give in charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So here's someone giving in charity, giving in sacrifice, but it's not really about Krishna as much as it is about them. It's all about me, 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 what I'm doing, how great I am, what I'm going to get, right? So the devotees of the Lord like to change that focus and focus on the giver, right? Focus on the one who's given us so much in our lives, right? So, but those people who are in the clutches of the material world, material ignorance, it's all about me. It's about wealth or power. And instead of uncovering my real spiritual identity. So Prabhupada says, he uses a nice term at the end of this purport, that the real devotees, the pure devotees, are more concerned about spiritual emancipation than material comforts. So emancipation, wow. In the US, Abraham Lincoln wrote the Emancipation Proclamation. It's kind of an archaic word, but it's about freedom. So through performing sacrifice, this sacrifice of chanting the holy names, ultimately, we can become free from all of these things that bind us up in the material world, our ego, all the things that put us in bondage in the material world. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, maybe you read the story. It's a really great story. If you ever do plays there, I highly recommend it. Would be a great play. The story of the three lives of Maharaj Bharata. First, he's a great king. It's described that he's like practically on the level of bhava. He's practically on the level of ecstatic love. He goes to the forest, renounces his whole kingdom. The planet Earth is named after him, Bharat Varsha, pretty great king, right? But then he goes to the forest, and because he didn't have any association of devotees out there, he got attached to a little deer, and he got bewildered by this deer. Then he left that body thinking of the deer. Then in his next life, he became a deer, but that deer was always hanging around with the holy people. And then in his next life, he took his birth as, he was called Jad Bharat. And he didn't want to fall into illusion again. So he was, even though he was a pure devotee, great devotee, he was posing as a dumb person, an animal-like man. And his father kept trying to teach him and he wouldn't learn. And so his brothers just put him out in the field. Okay, you just scare away the birds and the animals so they don't eat the rice, whatever. But then these Kali worshippers, these ignorant people, very, very low people who misuse sacrifice. And I think in Africa, you have some of that too, right? People misuse sacrifice, use black magic to control or harm other people. So that's what these guys were doing. So they grabbed him. They thought, well, here's an animal-like man, and he looks like he's really good for sacrificing to the goddess Kali, right? So they grabbed him and they dressed him up, and the guy, one of them raised his sword up in the air, and he was about to slit his throat and offer the blood to this bloodthirsty goddess. But the goddess doesn't like that kind of sacrifice. She was not pleased. She was infuriated, actually, by this unauthorized misuse of sacrifice, disobeying the injunctions of the scriptures and trying to murder a great devotee of the Lord, right? So what happened? Such a great story. I'm not going to read the verses exactly because they're so bloody, but you can look it up yourself. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. I didn't write the chapter, but the verses 17 through 19. Anyway, she was infuriated and she burst out of the deity form and she was leaping off the altar and she just killed those rogues and she used the big sword that they were going to kill Jad Bharat with. She used that sword and she saved the pure-hearted Jad Bharat. So, wow. What a great tale. So don't misuse sacrifice. Don't have materially motivated sacrifices, right? Don't use black magic to control other people, right? Manipulate. So I want to conclude. Srila Prabhupada mentions at the end of this purport, as I said before, how devotees of the Lord are more concerned with spiritual emancipation than they are about gaining wealth or power. And therefore, devotees chant the holy name. They offer this sacrifice of the holy name of Krishna and receive Krishna's blessings for this, again, spiritual emancipation. So I wanted to share something that Srila Prabhupada says in the first canto in one of his purports, where he talks about real freedom and how when we take shelter of Krishna, when we offer our hearts in sacrifice, and a sacrifice of loving devotion, this is what he says we get. We get the real freedom of loving Krishna. So here's what he says. It's very beautiful. The need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see the free light and the spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead. So that is actually, sometimes it's described at the end of different chapters in the Bhagavatam, what the fruit of this hearing will be. So here we're hearing that the real fruit of this sacrifice is that we will get to meet we will become free, and we will get to meet the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead. So that's something that maybe we can all aspire for in our chanting of the holy names. So thank you so much. These are some thoughts on this verse. And are there any questions or reflections? And I always like to go back and forth between the men and the Vaishnavis. So I know the men are always very enthusiastic in Africa. So maybe we could go first with a man, and then we could ask one of the women or Vaishnavis if they have a reflection or takeaway question. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother Rukmini Devi. So, dear devotees, if anyone has question, comment, starting from the male devotees, and then we'll go back to the female devotees.
So yeah, what's a takeaway for you? Or reflect something back? What did you hear?
You quoted one verse from Bhagavad Gita, I think chapter 10, where Krishna describes different things that represent him. Mm-hmm. And the Lord said, I don't remember the chapter, the verse, but it's chapter 10.
25.
Okay, yeah, the Lord was saying it that of transcendental sound vibration, he is Om.
Yes, he says that first, and then he says of sacrifices, I am.
Okay, so my question is, in Western English language, I don't know how the creators of this language came to know about it, that in English language, almost every word that starts with Om has something to do with the Lord. I don't know if you have any like omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. They all represent God. I don't know how they came up with that.
Wow, yeah, that's beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. And actually, in one place, it's described that Om, because it's actually A-U-M, that the A represents Krishna, the U represents Sri Radha, and the M represents all living beings.
Yeah.
So that's very beautiful too. So if you think, I'm just going to love Krishna and I'm going to trample on all living beings, that doesn't work, because that's all part of the Om. Thank you. Beautiful reflection. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Any of the ladies, Vaishnavis?
Yeah. Maybe we may go by calling out names.
Yeah, because you know what? Sometimes men think women talk too much, right? I think that's like a stereotype. Men think women talk too much. But how come when we want them to ask a question at the end of class, nobody asks a question? So, okay.
All right. Also, so I think I'm going to call on somebody. I'm going to call on Narayani Devi.
Okay.
Narayani, you may unmute and say something, either reflection or question or whatever. Okay. Yes, please unmute.
Hare Krishna, dear Mother, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. The take home that I'm taking is sometimes when I'm chanting, my kids, sometimes they'll be doing something and then I'll be saying, oh, you do this, you stop, you did do this, you do that. So right now I realize that when I'm chanting, the Lord is with me, so I'm not supposed to be doing stuff like that.
Well, thank you. Well, the Lord also wants you to take care of your kids. You know, he doesn't want your kids to be running in the street. He doesn't want your mind to be running in the street, but he doesn't want your kids to be running in the street. So you know what? If your kids are awake, Like I always say, it starts the night before. If you can get to sleep early, maybe your kids are still asleep. Whoa, you can have some really peaceful japa. But if your kids are awake and they're running around and they're calling you mama, 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 then figure out some good things they like to do. You can get them coloring, some pictures of Krishna or animals, whatever. Also stickers. You can get them little iPad, whatever, but give them something to keep them busy so that you can be able to concentrate. That's just
okay, mother. My question is, my kids, they are not babies though. I wake up. Sometimes I wake up early morning to chant my rounds, and they have to wake up like 6 o'clock. So I wake up before them. But at 6 o'clock, when they wake up 6 o'clock, they'll be going around. There is a mirror in our closet. You see somebody standing at the mirror doing something whilst I'm sitting there. And sometimes they will go by picking something in front of the TV. So sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, it's a complete battle. And sometimes when you have older kids, you have to get them off to school. Maybe you have to make them some sandwiches to take to school. It's a battle. But make some sacred time. Maybe after they go to school, after they go wherever they go, because older kids don't want to hang around with their mama all day anyway. So make some private time. And if it's not early in the morning when they're running around hiding behind the mirror, then make some time when you can make that special time for Krishna, or take a walk. You can maybe, if they have all their friends and they're making noise at home, go outside, and make a special time that you can be with Krishna. And it's a constant battle for supremacy, right, between the mind and Krishna. So try to give your best as best you can. And Krishna understands. If you're trying, he understands. So keep trying. And kids grow up very quickly. Like my son Gauravani, he's 46. I can't believe it.
Oh,
yeah. So they do grow. So you have hope.
Thank you so much, mother.
Haribo. Okay, maybe a question or a reflection from one of the gentlemen, Vaishnavas.
Yes. Any observation from the
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, mother.
Yeah.
Please, based on the question, mother, is it Narayani? Yes.
Narayani, yes.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment that is it possible to get the kids japa bags and japa beads so that while she's also chanting, they can also be part of the japa. But however, I would also love to ask Mother Rukmini, what age or at what age are children recommended to also start chanting so that it's going to be effective, or is it as soon as possible that we see that they can talk, make pronouncements?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much. I think it's great. You can give them japa beads when they're babies, but they should never be forced, They should learn to like it and think that it's fun, but they should never be forced. So even when they're babies, you can get them a little bead bag and little japa beads and they can imitate, because children love to imitate their parents. But the thing is, they should never be forced, because sometimes it becomes like an ego trip of the parents that, oh, my children are chanting so many rounds and your children are not. And then that's not good, and then the children resent that and they just want to run away. So it should never be forced. And it should just be an expression of love. They should see that you're liking it, so they'll like it too. But if you force them, oh, you have to sit down here for an hour. No, then they'll rebel. So make it from the heart, make it something that they will love. Good question. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Haribo.
Thank you, Mata.
Any other ladies' questions?
Yeah, so we'll go to Gayatri Devi.
Okay.
Mother Gayatri, please unmute. Where is Gayatri? Gayatri is here. Please unmute. Then yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please. I'm at a very noisy place, so please.
We still can hear you. We heard you. We heard you when you were talking.
Yeah, we heard you. Haribo.
Yeah. Are you in the classroom?
No, Prabhu, we just closed and I'm on my way to the house.
Yeah, so just say something.
Some reflection.
We can hear you. Yes.
See, men should stop saying women are too talkative. It's not true. All the men don't say that anymore. Okay, see how quiet the ladies are? Yes, that stereotype should no longer be spread. It's a rumor.
All right, so we go to Mother Atma then. Mother Atma Devi. I hope she's home. Please unmute Mother Atma.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mata. It's a set my humble obeisance. So grace to share Prabhupada, grace to Gurudev, grace to all of the devotees.
Hare Krishna.
I'm put on the spot, but
what did you hear? Just reflect something back, something that was important for you. Maybe you can reflect back.
I think you know, in it's our japa basically is the focus and the attention we give during our japa. And I've been trying to get up early in the morning. I try to finish my japa before I do anything. So that has been going well, but as I don't know if it's just only me, but you know, during japa, the mind will be going here and there, here and there, here and there. And I do remember, you know, and sometimes you're falling asleep, you know, on top of the mind, you know, roaming all over the place, and you're falling asleep on top of that.
Right.
And I do remember one lecture that my Guru Maharaj gave, and it was a very powerful lecture. And he was saying that sometimes, like when we are watching a movie and the movie is so good, even though you are so sleepy, you still stay awake to make sure that you finish that movie before you go to sleep. You know, you try to put all your attention there to stay awake. But when you're doing japa and you're falling asleep, why can't you tell your mind? Why can't you just like, you know, like try to focus, just like you try to focus on watching that movie?
So true.
And every time I started doing that, I'm like, okay, you know, I need to just reflect in my mind every time. Yes. And since I started, you know, doing that, it's been a little bit better during japa.
Thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that great instruction, you know.
Yeah.
That's really, really wise. And, you know, sometimes I find if I'm too bundled up and too warm, it'll make me sleep. And also have a glass of water next to you so that if you get sleepy, you can drink a little water. Okay. And yeah, you know, and also I think pray to Krishna to help you. That Krishna, this is so important, and I don't understand the importance of it, but all the great teachers have advised me that it's very important. So please help me to stay awake and to get this taste and to be awake for the living name, be awake for Krishna's living name. Yeah. Thank you. Great advice.
And then another thing I tell myself also is that, you know, if you're going to get up at 4:30 in the morning to chant, then you might as well do it better. You know? You might as well try to focus. Otherwise, what's the point of getting up at 4:30 in the morning? You know? So that's also been helping. Thank you, Martha. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. If you're going to sleep, you might as well be sleeping in your bed. If you're going to be awake, right? Thank you. Very, very nice reflection. Thank you so much. Haribo.
Hare Krishna. So we go to His Grace Anadini Ranam Prabhu. Please, you may unmute. Anadini Ranam.
Smart Hare Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
And my network is some kind of bad here. But anyway, mine is more or less like a question. In Mother's presentation, she made mention that some chant for material things. So my question is, anything manifest Krishna is material to my understanding. So someone chanting, maybe attach something to the holy name, like money or something like that, or that material or something else. Hare Krishna.
All right,
You catch it? It was going in and out.
Yeah, he was breaking up, but I think his question is that you had mentioned. Sorry. You had mentioned that we should be attached to Krishna, and his understanding is that anything minus Krishna is material. So if someone is chanting the holy names of the Lord, if someone is chanting some mantras, which is about the Lord, but chanting the mantras, he is also thinking of something like money, which is material. But he is also chanting the names of the Lord, which has something to do with the Lord. How is it material if the reason he is chanting the mantra is for money, material thing?
Well, Krishna is actually in everything, right? He's in money, he's in the air, he's in time, he's everywhere. There's nothing that Krishna is not in. He's in every atom, he's in between every atom. So in one sense, you could say, Krishna's in the money, so I'm just going to worship money. Why do I have to worship Krishna? But the thing is, Krishna is he's not so dumb, and he's not so cheap, and he's looking for our intention, Like maybe I really do need some money in my life to serve Krishna better and to take care of my family. So I can tell Krishna that, Krishna, I really need to have more money to support my family, support my life. So please help me, but most of all, I want you, So Krishna, he understands our intention, he understands our needs. And, so we can go to him, even if it's not just praying for pure devotional service, we should go to him anyway, independence, and try our best, and say, Krishna, I have these desires, but most of all, I want you. So please help me maintain my life and my family, and give me your own self as well. So he will understand. He's not like a dumb stone. No, he will understand your intentions. And he also can't be tricked. Did I ever tell you this story? This one early devotee, he was trying to trick Prabhupada. He thought, well, he's supposed to be a great devotee. He's supposed to be a realized soul. So let me try to trick him with this question. So he asked Prabhupada, I'm not sure if I told this story before. So he asked Prabhupada, how many windows are in the Empire State Building in New York? This was in the early days in New York. So he asked, how many windows are in the Empire State Building? And Prabhupada just shot back at him. He said, how many drops of water are in a mirage or in an illusion? Such a great answer. So Krishna can't be tricked. He's looking to see what is our intention. And if we're crying to him that, Krishna, I keep falling asleep when I'm chanting, please help me. Or Krishna, I need some money for my family, please help me. But then he'll see that what we want most of all is his shelter. He'll understand. Is that a good answer?
Thank you so much, Mother. I think Mother Malati was here yesterday, and she also shared something very beautiful about Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is just so sweet, So she was sharing that once Srila Prabhupada was giving like a seminar or something, and one guy stood up and asked Srila Prabhupada, I think he says, yes, Prabhupada, you trying to get everybody to go back home, back to Godhead, then what remains in this world? There will be nothing left in this world. And Prabhupada said, Don't worry. There will be many fools like yourself here all the time. But according to Madame Malati, Prabhupada said it in such a very beautiful and loving manner that this person did not even take offense from it. So, so Prabhupada's wit is top notch, you know. It's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's no more questions, is there any other question or?
Yeah. Any other question before we let Mother go?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare
Mother,
Krishna.
I'm just laughing about what Sadhya Prabhu just said, and then one of Prabhupada's things that I just said. But I was just being inquisitive that I could say that when Prabhupada came to America, many of devotees that had joined, let me use you as an example, you may have been in your youthful ages. What was this special thing that actually motivated the youth? Because everything that Prabhupada has said is like, he said, these American boys and girls. He didn't refer to you as men and women. But in this our era, we are not getting this kind of motivation. What was so different? Is it the personality Prabhupada that was motivating, or they are just special so that Krishna himself had arranged and sent to Prabhupada because he wanted his con to stand? Is there any tips you can give us as youth? We are growing, we are having programs so that we can infuse this into our daily life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Humbly please.
Hare Krishna. Sahadev, did you understand the question? Because I didn't.
Yeah. Sorry, he was saying that when Srila Prabhupada came to the West, when Srila Prabhupada came to America, most, if not all of the disciples, all the devotees who came to join him were all in their youthful days. And so Srila Prabhupada actually referred to the followers as you boys and girls.
Right.
That means you were not like, excuse me to say, very old people. So what was the motivational factor that made like your humble self joined Srila Prabhupada in such a very youthful stage? And so most of you were in your very youthful ages when you joined, but it's become very difficult in this age of ours to attract young people to join. So his question is, what was the motivational factor? Was it because of Srila Prabhupada being Srila Prabhupada or something else? He just wants to know.
Wow. Well, that's another great question. Thank you so much. Well, I think that's true. Srila Prabhupada being Srila Prabhupada, because like my father had such an appreciation of Prabhupada that we, like our motto was, don't trust anyone over 30. And yet my father was saying we trusted Prabhupada, even though he was telling us the opposite of everything we believed. So what great character Srila Prabhupada had. But also it was a climate of revolution. It was a climate of people were being sent to Vietnam to kill other people, be killed in a useless, senseless war. So sometimes suffering is a great motivation. So if we have more suffering, sometimes we turn to Krishna. But also I think for young people, we have to make it fun. Kirtan is fun, right? Kirtan attracts, I know in our Washington, D.C. temple, when we have capital Kirtan, because Washington, D.C. is the capital of the U.S., that attracts all the young people. So try to have lots of fun Kirtan, have lots of prasadam, yummy prasadam. If you have yummy prasadam and great Kirtan with great mridangas, I think lots of young people will come. And then the last point is just that Prabhupada used to say, young bamboo bends and old bamboo breaks. So old people tend to be more set in their ways, but young people can be molded to a new way of thinking. So if we make it fun, I think we have to use our intelligence, how to make it fun for young people. And then lots of young people will come. Like there's a famous story of when Prabhupada came to Africa, right? And the devotees were just preaching to the Indian people. Only the Indian people were coming. And Prabhupada was complaining, where's the African people? And they said, well, they're not interested. And Prabhupada said, well, have a big kirtan, open the door and see what happens. So they went, I don't know where it was. They went into a township or something. They had a big kirtan. And all of a sudden, all these people were dancing their heads off, right? So make it fun and have lots of prasadam. Prabhupada's secret weapon is ISKCON bullets have yummy prasadam, great kirtan, all the young people will come. Just make it fun. And yeah, invite the kirtan people.
Thank you
Haribol.
so much.
hope-
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
Mother.
question, and thank you for the answer. I think
Actually, myself, it's prasadam that caught me, so it's good. Prasadam is very sweet.
Yeah, that's a secret weapon, right?
Yeah.
Haribol. That's
In
great.
fact, I used to like Prashadam so much. I thought my initiation name was going to be Prashadam Das. So we all love Prashadam, yes.
Beautiful. Well,
So,
thank you.
okay, go ahead, please, Mother.
Oh, I was just going to say, if there's no more questions, then
Yeah.
maybe we could close. But thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a great joy and an honor to be with you there in Africa over Zoom. And,
Thank you so much, Mother, for the love. And you, the direct disciples of Srila Prabhupada, we, the other generation and the coming up generations, we owe you so much. We can never repay you for what you did for us. And Ras Vilas Prabhu's question, I am with the conviction that that atmosphere that we read about that took place in ISKCON when Srila Prabhupada was physically here, especially his very, very early days establishing ISKCON till he left us physically. That will never be experienced again. It will never happen. That love and dedication and not thinking about oneself, just doing everything to please Srila Prabhupada, it will not be there as it was, but it's just that it was created for coming generations till time indefinite to look up to that and try to mold ourselves. So if we do not get to that point, I don't think we should kill ourselves over that, because we're never going to get there anyway. This is my conviction. But it is there for us to learn how these devotees dedicated their lives, risked their lives to serving their Gurudev. So
Wow.
that is my conviction.
Well, thank you very much for the beautiful appreciation, and all credit goes to Srila Prabhupada. But I also think if even one or two of us becomes very, very pure-hearted in Krishna consciousness, like look at Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He went to Africa, he set it on fire, right? So if just one or two of us become so inspired as he did, then we can light the whole world on fire. It just takes taking it seriously, like Prabhupada wanted us to do. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Oh, Hare Chakra Prabhu, you have something to say? Mother, do you have like a couple more minutes for us? Hare Chakra Prabhu has something to say.
Hare Chakra Prabhu.
Yeah, please unmute.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Thank you very much. Anytime we hear you, then it's like we want to start all over again, our Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhu.
It's so inspiring.
Thank you.
About what Ras Vilas was saying, and the comments that Prabhu also gave. Personally, what I'm thinking is that Prabhupada actually has given us the what we call the technique how to attract the young, because when Prabhupada came, even though all these young boys and girls, they were way younger. Prabhupada was way older than them, but he still embraced them. He embraced them with so much love that they thought they were part of him. And so once they thought like that, then they wanted to do anything for him. And I can understand the similar thing happened with my Guru Maharaj. Anytime we approach him, he just opens up and make you feel that you are also somebody. Now, what I'm personally seeing in our recent times is that we don't embrace the youth like that. We are always trying to look down upon them. Or we are always thinking that they have nothing to offer. And once you begin to think like that for children, you lose them. even in our homes, in our personal homes. If you have your children and you don't make your children feel that they are important in the house, they can also offer something, they can bring their suggestion on board, you lose your children.
So true. Well, didn't Jesus Christ say from the mouths of babes, right? Jesus Christ said from the mouths of babes. So we should be humble enough to learn from our children and to hear from them, and maybe ask them, how can we attract young people? Maybe they'll have some great ideas that they never thought of, that we never thought of.
Yeah.
So yeah, from the mouths of babes, we can learn so much. But usually devotees in ISKCON, we like to talk, but we don't like to listen. But we have two ears and one mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we talk.
Yeah.
Let's try to listen more to the youth. I think that's great. Thank you for that nice point, Prabhu. Very, very wise. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. So
thank you.
I think that's a very good point to end on. So we therefore going to humbly request you all Vaishnavi devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant the loudest Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered Auntie, Her Grace, Mother Rukmini Devi. Jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare. Vancha kalpa tarabhyasta, kripasindu vyaivacha, titanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavabhyo namo namaha.
Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Hare.
Our Grace Mother Rukmini Devi Dasi ki jai.
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 Hare.
Hare